OT Rise, Rising Leaders of Our Profession. Hosted by Jen and Marla.
And we are back on spOTlight. For this episode, we invited different OT leaders in the industry to share their thoughts on leadership in our field.
Yes, Mom Jen, I think this will be an exciting episode. Mukhang marami talaga tayong matututunan sa ating mga guests today.
You got it, Marla. We really need leaders sa profession talaga natin, no? To keep the advancements going.
That's true. I was thinking, no, if I want to become an industry leader, how can I contribute kaya? So that's why we invited guests na talaga naman masasabi natin na blessing sa atin because without them, hindi mag-run ang ating OT profession.
I agree. Kaya naman, let's not keep them waiting.
Okay, so let's start. So for tonight, our first guest is Ms. Micah Tam-od. She graduated from the University of Santo Tomas with degree of BS Occupational Therapy last 2018. Hi, Ms. Micah. Good evening, and thank you for being part of our talk tonight.
Hello, good evening. It's my pleasure.
Welcome.
Our second guest is Ms. Goebel Ygay. She graduated from Davao Doctors University with the degree of BS Occupational Therapy last 2016. Hi, Ms. Goebel.
Yes,
right?
Goebel.
Good evening, and thank you for accepting our invitation.
Thank you also for inviting me. Good evening.
Good evening, Miss Goebel.
Good evening.
All right. Okay. So we have here, Ma'am Jen, these two young OT professionals. Okay. So these young OT professionals are currently taking on leadership roles in the field. So to know them more, we will start with Ms. Goebel. Can you tell us about your role?
So, hi. So, for everyone, I am the current PAOT president, chapter president in Mindanao. And yeah, I am an OT consultant here in Northern Mindanao. So, if you're asking about like role of what I do, so I'm like sorry, I'm as a president here in the chapter, I'm just like also a follower from the national. So whenever the national give instruction, it goes to me and then I delegate it. So that's just my role here. Yeah.
I see. All right. So, the Mindanao chapter po ba is currently new or is it an existing na chapter from before?
So the chapter was formed in, I think, year 2017. It is also the year that I was nominated and elected. So it's relatively new. And then we were the first chapter formed by the national organization. So yes. And then after that one, after Mindanao, so they formed Western Visayas, then Central Visayas, and then now I think there's Cordillera chapter.
Oh, okay. No, talaga naman dumami na nga po. Alright. Is it since 2017, am I correct? Are you serving in the PAOT Mindanao chapter or is it just new? Are you newly elected professional po?
Since 2017, I have been the officer of PAOT. I was like supposed to be, if you're a officer, you have a term for 2 years, but then from 2017 until now, I'm still the president. I'm still waiting for someone who wants to be the president, who wants to be a leader next to me.
Okay, I think talagang nagustuhan ka ng chapter na yon, Ma'am Goebel. That's why you are the existing until 2021, right? 2021.
Miss Goebel, can we ask kung ilan yung mga active na OT sa chapter nyo?
in Mindanao, the active OTs, it's from our recent census, it's more than 150. From our recent
Mm,
census, it's more than 150. And then members, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure pa, but yeah, that's one.
okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. So next one, ito rin, Ma'am Jen. This is also a PAOT officer, no? So how about you, Miss Micah? Can you tell us more about your role?
Okay. So, one of my roles sa PAOT is I'm the chapter secretary for the Southern Tagalog chapter. So basically, my role there is to very simple, a secretary who writes the minutes of the meeting and then attends um, the meetings. And then follower rin lang ako actually from the as a president. So under ako ni Sir Morphin in our chapter. Sa PAOT, it's relatively new kasi. So wala pa kami masyadong roles talaga na ginagawa as of the moment kasi under approval pa yung marami pang mga ina-approve sa chapter namin. So basically, wala pa kami masyadong programs talaga na ini-implement. Kaya yung role namin ngayon, as a PAOT secretary, limited pa lang siya from dun sa inside our group na yung sa meetings pa lang. Yun pa lang yung role ko as a secretary.
I see.
Yeah.
Yes. Nako, I believe ang dami yatang active na mga OTs dyan sa southern part, no? Sana sa Zambales din. I'm from Zambales kasi. Sana magkaroon din ng Zambales chapter, di ba? Hopefully soon na.
Okay. Oh, Miss
We can
Micah,
tell the
aside
national
from...
about that.
Yes.
We can
oo.
ask the
Yan.
national. How about you, Miss Jen? Are you willing to be the chapter president?
Oh, why not? Char, no? Challenge accepted.
Ayan, we could have tips later on from
Yes,
Miss Goebel
oo.
and Miss Micah, no, sa ating kwentuhan. Okay. But Miss Micah, aside from PAOT, I heard kasi you have a new, like, you're also a leader of a, sige, let's talk more about your newest baby or your Tiny Nook Therapy Center.
Ayan. So, I'm the managing director and the owner of Tiny Nook Therapy Center. Actually, this one, pandemic baby siya. So, it started last year, August 2020. So, until now, up and running siya. So, we do face-to-face sessions. Yan. Thankfully, okay naman lahat ng kids. Wala namang natamaan ng COVID. So, okay pa rin kami. Yun, hindi naman kasi ganun ka grabe talaga yung cases here. Managed siya by the government. Buti na lang. Yun. And then, so yung role ko for that is ako talaga yung leader for that one. So, yun siguro yung biggest role ko right now. So, out of all the roles that I have, kasi I'm also one of the members of a committee doon sa Palawan Consumers, Palawan Special Consumers Cooperative. So that's a cooperative also for kids with special needs dito sa Palawan. But anyway, going back sa Tiny Nook, yun. So marami akong roles as a leader din doon sa Tiny Nook kasi from admin work to managing yung SPED department and OT department, yun. And then, although I do delegate, pero yun yung mga roles ko as the owner of Tiny Nook. Yun.
Wow. All right. So, ang dami pala, Miss Micah. You're PAOT officer. You have Tiny Nook and you're the managing director there. And you're also part of the Palawan
Palawan Special Consumers Cooperative.
Ayan, Palawan Special Consumers Cooperative. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So later on, we will talk about okay, more of those, okay, and how to become great leaders, right, Miss Jen?
Yes, add ko lang ha, 'di ba? Despite nung pandemic, 'di ba? Nagkaroon na-sprout yung yung baby project ni Miss Micah, 'di ba? Ang galing-galing naman. So, let's get to know them better mamaya. Okay, it's really nice to have the both of you here. Thank you for accepting our invitations. I'm sure madami kayong output at marami rin kaming matututunan ng mga listeners nyo. Tapos, we should unlock the success of these millennial leaders and let's get to know them better about their leadership styles, values, and mga iba pa. I know it's challenging, pero paano kayo napunta sa position nyo ngayon and how do you see its contribution to our industry?
To start off, let's go with Ma'am Micah.
Ayan. So, the question is, paano siya nag-come into play na naging paot, right? Okay,
Yes,
so
yes.
You can talk about Miss Micah. You can talk about paot. You can talk about the tiny nook, no, and everything na pati sa Palawan po.
Okay, all right. So actually, sige, let's start with paot kasi yun yung first nating pinag-usapan earlier. So for paot, kaka-establish lang kasi talaga ng Southern Tagalog this year lang. So when that was happening, meron na talagang core. Meron kaming tinatawag na core group. Tapos, yun yung nagla-lobby ng chapter. So, yan sila Sir Marvin, sila Eid, yun. So, actually, it was Eid who messaged me kasi magkatabi kami sa board, nung board exam. And then, alam niyang taga Palawan ako. So, nag-chat lang siya. Tinanong niya ako kung interested ba ako to join the core group of Southern Tagalog since ako yung taga Palawan na kilala niya. And then, ayun, so I said yes din kasi I think it's a good opportunity as well. And para matry ko rin what it's like. Ayun. So very open kasi ako to a lot of opportunities. So that's one of my qualities rin. So yun, nag-go lang ako then to see if okay ba and then if not, edi I can withdraw naman daw anytime. Yun. So when we were establishing the chapter, that's when the nomination happened. I'm not sure kung sino nag-nominate sa akin kasi marami nag-message pero tapos nag-yes lang ako sa kanila kung ina-nominate daw ako. So, okay. Tapos nun, dumating na yung email ng PAOT and then nag-send lang ako ng requirements. And then when the election came, ayun, apparently, kasi wala akong masyadong kilala sa Southern Tagalog. So, I wasn't really expecting na makasama ako dun sa list of people na maging officers kasi marami rin yung na-nominate. And then, tapos halos lahat sila, mga more on Calabarzon. So, mas marami kasing practitioners sa Calabarzon. So, ayun, mas marami silang friends. So, when that happened, ayun, apparently, nanalo for secretary. So, kaya ako naging secretary for PAOT. Yan. And then for Tiny Nook naman, yun talaga sobrang siya, hindi ko siya in-expect na mag-open ako ng center kasi I was planning for a different path before coming home. Yun. So after grad kasi po 2018, nag-work muna ako sa Quezon City. So, si Marla, kasama ko siya sa isang center sa movement sa Pasig. And then, marami pa akong centers like sa Project 6, tsaka sa Timog. Yan. So, after working for a while, I decided na mag-abroad. So, nag-apply ako ng CEAS program sa Canada. So, nandun na ako sa last stage, which is yung oral exam. So, I actually went to Canada ng 2019 para mag-oral exam. But, unfortunately, nagkaroon ng pandemic. So, hindi pa din yung mga face-to-face. So, na-postpone yung face-to-face na oral exam namin until na-postpone na naman siya, na-move na siya. Parang nasa Canada ako for more than 6 months na. Yun, nang wala akong work. So, parang talagang may question mark. Ano ba yung purpose ko?
Yes.
Ganon.
Oh.
So, parang, di ba kasi when you're studying, parang meron kang, may goal ka. Ganyan. So, na alam mo na kapag katapos mo ng exam, there's another year to conquer. Tapos, parang meron kang pathway talaga na sinusundan. But then, nung nandun ako sa Canada, yung roadblock ko is pandemic, which is wala naman tayong magagawa. So, yun, doon na nagkaroon ng malaking question mark na parang, hihintayin ko pa ba to? Baka mamaya 1 taon na nandito ako pero wala akong ginagawa. And nami-miss ko na yung kids, nami-miss ko yung work. Kasi very workaholic ako as a person. Talagang before work ako ng 6 days in a week from 8 to 5 p.m. or minsan 6 p.m. Talagang diretso, minsan no lunch break. So parang biglang naging ganun yung life ko. Parang, ano nang gagawin ko? So, I went, bumalik muna ako ng Philippines. Kasi syempre wala na akong pera. Kasi wala akong work. So, pagbalik ko, doon na ako nag-isip na parang why not? Parang ang tagal na nung months na doon sa goal ko. So, maybe it's time to set a new goal. Parang ganun. So, after nun, bumalik ako around June sa Philippines. Tapos, ang haba ng quarantine procedure sa Manila nun kasi bago pa lang yung breakout. So, July ako nakabalik ng Palawan. And then, July, quarantine na naman for another month. Grabe, ang haba talaga ng quarantine. Ibang klase. July. So, August, nag-open na ako. Yun. So, yung very blessed and lucky ako in that way na pagdating ko dito, talagang medyo na-plancha siya na very easy lang na nakahanap agad ako ng spot. Tapos nun, nakahanap ako ng materials. Tapos medyo maganda yung flow. Maganda yung flow ng pagpasok ko. And then, nung August, nag-open ako. Yan. So, parang, ang bilis, ganun. So, ganun yung nangyari dun sa kwento ng Tiny Mo. Yan.
Ako, yes. Sige, continue, Miss Micah.
So, yun. So, until now, up and running siya. So, yun. Okay naman. At least, okay, tama yung decision ko. Ganon. Na mag-start, na gawin nga yun, na mag-set ng new goal na talagang, kasi until now, hindi pa rin nag-go yung face-to-face nung oral exam. So imagine if nag-stick ako na sobrang rigid talaga ako dun sa goal na yun. Baka, hindi ko na alam kung nasaan ako ngayon. Baka
And look at naman the product now of your hard work, diba? And
yes.
Miss Micah talaga, actually, yun nga, sabi nga niya kanina, nagkasama kami in one clinic and I've seen that from her even during the undergrad years. She is really determined and a risk taker. So, sa lahat ng, Miss Micah, lahat ng you shared with us, no? I would like to go back dun sa pagiging PAOT officer kasi this is something new for you, right? Yes. So I would like to ask a little bit of curiosity. Since you were elected, you were nominated first, and then you were elected. No, what was your driving force? Why did you accept the role in PAOT?
Actually, when that happened, siguro yung nasa mind ko at that moment was magandang opportunity siya for exposure nung Palawan. Like, para makita nung ibang tao na ibang OTs na merong Palawan na pwedeng pag-workan, parang gano'n. So, kasi like pagka after grad, 'di ba, parang almost all the people gusto nila Manila, Quezon City, or if Southern Tagalog man, yung Region 4A, which is Laguna,
Malalapit, no?
Cavite, yan,
Oo.
malapit-lapit. So parang iniisip ko talaga noon, kaya ako siya in-accept kasi good opportunity to, ma-expose na yung Palawan, pwedeng ma-put into picture, pwedeng maisip ng other OTs, like graduating OTs and current OTs na, uy, parang okay pala mag-practice doon. O kasi si Teacher Micah, andoon, parang ganun. Kasi, yun yung parang naging difficulty dito. Wala masyadong gustong mag-relocate. So, hindi kasi sila sure kung ano ba yung, since wala pang nagsistay na OT dito. Meron kasing mga OTs, but ano sila, traveling OTs. So from Iloilo, they go here, ini-invite sila ng doctors or ng ibang parents, usually group of parents. Tapos Iloilo kasi yung nearest sa amin.
I
So
see.
magta-travel sila. Tapos ang mahal ng binabayaran ng parents. Tapos hindi kasi sila nagsistay since Iloilo nga sila. So, yun, mostly for ano siya, exposure para at least makita nila na what it's like when you stay here in Palawan nga. Ganon. Kasi I feel like magkakaroon ng exposure. Like now, like kung sino man, whoever's listening, dyan na parang who wants to stay here as an OT, ayan.
That's true
Welcome.
talaga nga. Oo po, Miss Micah. Actually, ito talaga yung kailangan natin right now, no? Kasi tama nga yung sabi ni Miss Micah, lahat ng, not naman lahat, but almost all graduates ng OT, usually, especially yung mga nag-graduate sa Manila area, right? They prefer to be of course, they're malapit sa house nila. Lahat, marami na tayong therapy centers in the National Capital Region. And ito yung mas na-expose, no? Mas na-expose yung kanilang, kumbaga yung mga clinics and few of those therapists na talagang they go out and reach to their own community, their own provinces to at least advocate and continue our profession there. So it's really inspiring to have you, Ma'am Micah. Right, Miss Jen?
Yes, oo. And may I add to that, no, everything has a reason talaga eh, di ba? Who would have thought
That's
yung
true.
pandemic, di ba? Like yung sa mga plans ni Miss Micah, di ba? Pero kasi it's your destiny talaga to be a leader, and to thrive talaga, tapos to own a center, tapos may paot ka pa, di ba? So what made you who or what influenced you to do on what you are doing right now?
So, well, mostly talaga maganda naman yung support system ko. So for the question of who, mostly ang nag-influence talaga sa akin to go for it was yung parents ko. So kasama ko kasi sila with lagi ako nagko-consult sa parents whenever I have a goal. So parang ano kaya kung ganito? Ano kaya kung ganyan? So sa kanila ako usually first na nag-a-ask ganyan. So sila yung nag-i-influence sa akin na nagde-drive sa akin. So parang nung nandun na ako, laki na ng question mark. So sabi ko sa kanila, what if magstay na lang ako sa Palawan? Meron bang OTs dyan? Ano ba yung opportunity dyan? So, yun, sila rin yung nakapagsabi sa akin na, actually, wala kasi si tita mo, ganyan, nagtatawag pa siya ng OT, ganyan. So, dun, in terms of influence na mag-open talaga, yun, yung parents. And then, for the what is, syempre, after knowing na wala nang practitioners, um, walang nagsistay na OT. So parang andun yung so anong mangyayari sa kids na nandito pala who cannot afford to go to Manila? So ganon. So mostly yan yung nag-drive sa akin, no, what na, okay, sige, kasi yung dito naman sa Palawan, okay naman kasi ang economy dito. Like mostly yung families can afford talaga sila kasi maganda nga yung flow ng economy dito sa Palawan. So kaya nilang magdalhin yung kids nila sa Manila. Pero konti lang. Like what if meron talagang magstay, at least mas malaki yung circle na matatap mo. Like, kaya nila magbayad, pero here, sa Palawan.
Yes.
Ganon. So, yun yung parang what ko.
Ang laking factor talaga nung yung sa parents, ang laking driving factor nun. And then at the same time, yung passion mo to help kids or yung client mo, no? Talagang listening to our guests also made me inspired to push myself beyond my limits. Right, Marla?
Yes, that's right, Ma'am Jen. Okay. Now that we've heard from Miss Micah, right? We had her insights in the Southern Luzon, Southern Tagalog, and the Palawan, Palawan province, right? Let's go naman dun sa ating Mindanao area. Medyo bababa tayo ng konti sa ating Philippine map. So, we will just repeat the question po, yung kanina po.
Yeah, sorry. What was the question? Sorry.
Yes, oo. Yes, paano po kayo napunta sa posisyon na meron kayo ngayon, and how do you see its contribution to our industry?
So yun siya, na-nominate ako, na-elect that I didn't know. And after that, I took the opportunity, maybe the opportunity just for like work, just an opportunity to work, like something, hindi siya as a consultant, hindi siya as therapist. Ayaw ko din maging teacher. I'm not really good at teaching. So maybe being an officer can help me to improve my profession, to improve me as a OT. So yes, that's what happened. And then after that, after the election, maybe 1 month after, 2 months after, I had a meeting with the national, because we were the first chapter. So everything that the Southern Tagalog, the Central Visayas, the Western Visayas we did it first. So it was kind of stressful for me because I was a new OT. I was a newly graduate OT. I was a newly licensed OT, and then a big responsibility was given to me because of all the all the officers like president, vice president. Yung president talaga ang nabigay sa akin, and I don't know anything about ethics pa jud. So it was a big responsibility for me as a newly OT. So yes.
Yes, I have a follow-up question, Ms. Goebel. How do you see its contribution to our industry, to our profession?
Being a
PAOT president sa Mindanao chapter.
I think overall as a PAOT officer, it's more like because in Mindanao scarce yung OT, so if it's difficult for them to reach out national. So now that we have Mindanao officers, there's more, they can talk, they can tell more about their concerns. So it is more addressed. Projects and what do you call that? Projects, workshops, or everything is more delegated in Southern Philippines.
Okay, thank you, Miss Goebel, for that answer, for answering our follow-up question. No? So that's correct, Ma'am Micah and Ma'am Goebel. So finding the right inspiration is really important if we want to find our passion to keep us going. Like these young OT professionals who are breaking all barriers, no? They are parang making their own name in our OT industry, and this will help us go further, right? Our profession. So kasi during the pandemic, we all had difficulties, or we all had parang all almost all of our tayo, in professional aspects, and to the future OTs, no, those who are kumbaga in nagsa-start pa lang talaga, or even those who are still taking their undergraduate studies, no, all of us have different roles, or all of us are considering, at least parang in the back of our minds, diba? One day, we maybe become a leader, no? Kahit hindi as big as PAOT. Maybe as a clinician, right, Ma'am Jen? Like sa, kunyari, sa area niya lang, OT head,
Yes.
ganyan, right?
Yes,
So,
I agree.
yes. So, all of this, we have to start somewhere, right? So, I want to ask if what are your core values, no, that are, or values that are most important to you as a leader. So, Miss Micah?
Um, Values as a leader, siguro first is being goal directed. So um being goal directed, of course, kailangan meron kang vision on where you want to go. So being a leader, kailangan mag-lead ka rin. So kailangan mo ng parang iti-pinpoint para ma-lead mo yung group mo properly, para meron kayong objectives, meron kayong path na maayos. Siguro yun yung one of the values na paano ba yun? May term, values na important to me as a leader. That, ayun. Tapos siguro yung passion. Of course, kailangan meron kang driving force kung para gawin mo yung ginagawa mo. Yan. And then, being self-aware. So, being self-aware, knowing na hindi mo alam lahat. So, kailangan, yes, kasi kung alam mo na lahat, ang galing-galing mo naman. So, kailangan self-aware ka kung ano yung alam mo at yung hindi mo alam. So, of course, as OTs, alam na natin yan, yung mga executive functions natin, kung okay ba, yon. So, kung saan tayo naglalak, of course, we need help. We need to ask for help. Dapat marunong tayo mag-delegate kasi limited ang time natin in a day. We only have 24 hours. Meron pa tayong sleep. So, we need to know when to delegate tasks and kung kanino natin i-delegate yung tasks. Kasi one of the important things being a leader is yung making a decision. So, if you're self-aware, kung ano yung alam mo at di mo alam, kaya mong gawin at di mo kayang gawin, mas madaling make ng decisions, mag-take ng risks. Like, for example, accounting, yan. You really hire people. Hindi pwedeng ikaw din yan. Kasi ikaw na nga sa everyday managing, tapos accounting, ikaw pa. So, it's really hard. So, for me, sasabog ako if ako lahat gagawa. Yun. So, yun. And then, of course, honesty sa work. Yun. Kailangan lagi kang honest with yourself also. Saan ka ba nagkulang, saan mo kailangan mag-push pa, and being honest din sa clients mo para yun yung laging magpo-push sa'yo na gagawin mo yung best mo talaga. For me, yan. So, yun yung values na ina-uphold ko as a leader.
Ang ganda nun, no? Right? Goal-oriented, being passionate, self-aware, and honesty. How about you, Miss Goebel? Anything to add on po? What are your core values as a leader?
Well, for me, being a good listener, because in our chapter, most of other our officers are older than me, so they know more wisdom. They're more wisdom than me. Then I listen to them before I decide to it. Even though that I'm the president, I do the judgment or the last judgment or anything. I listen to them first. After I listen to them, maybe I ask them as an OT, what's the strength and weakness of our decision. After that, it was also a good thing for me because I work under, if you know, Ma'am Thea Sheila Alonto. She's also a national officer. So whenever our chapter does something, does decide into something, me as a leader, I ask also another leader a for a advice. So that's really what I hold up to, being a good listener, because I I still have many years to learn pa. That one.
Oo nga, I agree with that. Yung mga sinabi niyong mga core values, talagang you are taking our profession to a greater height. And aside from that, yung sinabi niyong delegation, you have to be a good listener. Tapos kasi, di ba, yung mga like sa mga katulad nyo, yung mga ambabata nyo pa, di ba, mga goal-oriented kayo. Like sinabi ni Miss Goebel na you have to be a good listener kasi yung mga iba dyan is mga ibang colleagues natin mas higher or mas superior sa kanila. So ang question ko is about this na do you think age does matter sa pagiging leader? Kasi syempre yun nga, yung mga may colleagues tayo na mas superior or mas matanda sa inyo. So may mga iba dyan na nagda-doubt sa kakayanan nyo as a leader. So do you think na yung age does matter sa pagiging leader? How about kay Miss Goebel?
Ang difficult na question naman yan. It's it's a really difficult question for me because I think no, it doesn't really matter, because being a leader, you're still honing yourself to be a leader also. Like, yeah, it's really a difficult question.
Yeah, it's okay. No wrong answer naman dito. Thank you, Miss Goebel. How about si Miss Micah?
I think hindi naman siya nagma-matter kasi to become a leader, kailangan meron kang certain age. Kasi like, going back during elementary years, di ba? Meron din namang mga leaders, may mga presidents.
Class officers.
Class officers, yan. So, well, technically, age is, if ever na mas matanda ka, that's a good thing. Kasi mas marami kang experiences, mas marami kang mai-impart sa group mo. But being a young leader naman, hindi naman siya disadvantage as well for me. Kasi being a young leader, of course, mas usually, mas marami kang innovative ways or not mas marami, but
Yes.
meron ka ring own way of thinking on how to solve problems. Like, syempre, when you're older, you go and solve problems the way na kung ano yung nakagisnan mo. But then sometimes when another problem comes in, kailangan mo ng insight from a younger person kasi baka better. Ganun. So, technically, hindi naman siya disadvantage for me.
Yes, I totally agree na leadership knows no age talaga. Ang babata pa, pero yung kayo, di ba, kayong dalawa, Miss Goebel and Miss Micah, ang babata pa pero independent and driven na sa mga careers nyo. So as a leader, how do you empower those around you? And tsaka, paano nyo minomotivate sila? Anyone can answer.
Okay. Sige, ako na lang.
Yes.
Alright. Siguro in terms of motivating other people around me, mostly, as OTs, medyo magaling na tayo dyan kung paano tayo mag-praise and mag-pinpoint ng um, mistakes and how to word it out properly. Siyempre, pinag-aralan natin yun sa school. So, the way I motivate yung group ko for tiny no, mostly ano lang naman, verbal praises. And then, number one, verbal praises. And then, usually I help them during difficult times. Kunyari, meron silang hindi maintindihan, like sa admin work, kapag hindi naiintindihan ng secretary. Of course, you praise yung mga good qualities and then we use those, we talk talaga. So, I usually talk to my secretary, saan ba mahirap? Okay, ito yung mahirap. Paano ba natin mapapadali? So, ito, strength mo to. So, I always pinpoint the strengths that she has para she'll use it to help yung weaknesses niya sa work. Yan.
Wow.
How about you po, Miss Goebel?
Well, as for me, I always promote the advantages of being in an OT. So whenever because in here in Mindanao we're very small, like very small community here in Mindanao. So we try our best to talk to each other, motivate each other. Like if ang isa walang work, we have to ask everyone who wants. We ask anyone in there that if nag-hiring ba or anything, we motivate each other here. So it's not just for me; it's all us because I like with I for me I don't really it doesn't really matter for me if I am an officer, if I am a leader, as long as I am an OT. I try my best that to help others here in Mindanao. So helping each other is also motivating each other. So yes, that's my take on that.
Yeah.
Wow, alright. I would like to go back lang no dun sa sinabi kanina ni Miss Goebel. Like, being a leader is honing yourself to become a leader. And that really reflects sa kanilang mga answers, no? Listening to others, motivating others, and sabi nga ni Miss Micah, using her, yung mga admin niya, administrative sa kanyang tiny nook, using their strengths to motivate them and to perform well in their own work, right, Ma'am Jen?
Yes, exceptional leaders talaga sila. So, Miss Micah, what do you think are the advantages or disadvantages of one taking a leadership position?
Okay. Siguro, let's go sa disadvantages muna. So, one of the disadvantages of being a leader is wala kang masisisi kundi sarili mo kasi ikaw yung leader. Yun. So, sa'yo lahat ng bagsak if ever na something fails. Yun. So, siguro disadvantage is yung constant pressure on yourself. Parang, okay, parang as simple as waking up in the morning. Parang ganon. Kailangan ko magising ng maaga. Kailangan before 8 nandun ako. So, kailangan ganitong oras gising na ako. Paano pagpagod ako? Hindi, kailangan magigising ako. Kasi, kapag hindi ako nagising, hindi ma-open yung clinic. Kasi, yun po pala. Ako pa rin yung nag-open na nag-close ng clinic. So, hindi ma-open yung clinic. Paano yung kids? Parang ganon. So, ako yung may kasalanan. So, kahit sa simple things na ganon. So, putting sa bigger picture na if ever na merong problem, merong roadblock na kailangan i-fix, kung hindi ka mag-step in or mag-take initiative to actually be aware na meron ng roadblock, merong problem, tapos hindi ka mag-act on as a leader to actually say it doon sa subordinate na parang, okay, this is what's happening right now. I think we should do something about this. then magfo-fall ulit sa'yo yun. So parang yun yung constant pressure na kailangan you're always parang on tip top of everything. Ganon. Na parang you have to see kung ano yung picture ng kunyari, yan, for Tiny Nook, ano yung picture ngayon ng Tiny Nook, kailangan makita mo yung small things para you can fix it agad. So yun, yung constant pressure. Yun. And then, mostly the same thing rin siya for being a PAOT secretary. Kailangan laging yung disadvantage niya siguro is yung time na kailangan mong i-spend doing projects or doing meetings. Yun. Siyempre, iti-take out yun sa rest time mo. So, yun, one of the disadvantages. But at the same time, in terms of advantages, marami. So, advantage of being a leader is you get to actually help others also. Yun, na to help others, to motivate others. You get to talk to a lot of people. You get to communicate with other people. Siguro yun yung advantage. So being the leader of Tiny Nook, actually, I was lucky enough to know parang mas nag-widen yung yung circle ko. Kasi mas marami akong nakilalang tao in terms of this profession. Yan, mas nakilala ko yung mga PAOT officers for PAOT. Yun, marami akong insights na nakukuha sa kanila. Mas marami akong natututunan. Maraming learning actually being a leader. Kasi constantly nga sabi nga ni Teacher Goebel na parang when you're a leader, you're still honing yourself to be a leader. So, maraming learning every day. So, yun na-enjoy ko yun. I think of it as an advantage na pagka may problem, okay, at least next time, alam ko na kung anong gagawin ko. Yun. So, yung constant learning na nakukuha ko and then yung paglawak ng circle ko. Yun yung siguro main advantage.
Wow, all right. Well, we're on this topic, no? Ms. Micah, you've talked about the disadvantages such as constant pressure and taking your managing your time, no, as part of the PAOT. So, how do you handle these disadvantages? How do you make it into your strengths eventually? So, ano yung usually yung ginagawa mo when you encounter this?
Ayan. So, usually talaga during in times of constant pressure, I really take a step back muna. Yan. Mag-meditate ako, mag-yoga, mag-running, ganyan. So, I try to do SMRTs. Yun. And then, try to rationalize. Parang mind mapping, journaling. Yan, I do that in order to manage those disadvantages like the constant pressure. Kasi actually, the constant pressure, it's coming from you rin naman talaga. So it's coming from within myself. So I have to understand properly kung ano ba yung nangyayari, bakit yan. So, for example, yan, kanina, yung waking up early. So, I try to think of ways na how can I fix that problem? Yan. Para hindi ako lagi nape-pressure. Yan, yung mga small things. And then, for the time management, of course, yan, mga, I use, parang as OTs kasi marami tayong tools marami tayong alam na tools on how to manage the disadvantages that we have, like yung time blocking, yan, of course, yung mga in modern terms, yung mga 20-minute rules, yan. So, dun ko siya, lahat ng mga time management, kung ano man yung binibigay nating tips sa mga clients natin on how to manage time, So, yun din actually yung ginagamit ko sa sarili ko. In-OT ko rin yung sarili ko para magawa ko yung mga dapat kong gawin. Yun.
I
Yes,
Did
see.
that's
I
so
answer your question ba? Parang ang gulo.
Hindi. Actually, yes. Oo. We also, tawag dito, nakaka-relate din kami, no? Even us that we're not that leaders, but as an OT practitioner, right? We can also relate on that, no? Di ba? Minsan we have times when we are very tired and tama yung sabi ni Miss Micah, no? Ang ganda nun. Like, we have to take a step back, reflect, pause for a while. And I think it goes back, no? Kung ano ba yung reason mo, what is your why in doing this role? Why are you pursuing to become an OT? Why are you pursuing this leadership role in your community, in your own chapter? Right? So we could really turn this disadvantages into our advantages, right?
yes. And may I add to that, no? Kailangan talaga, it's a balance of everything talaga. Sobrang,
That's
ang
right.
dami nating natutunan din, tsaka narinig kay Miss Micah. And so kay Miss Goebel, I'd like to hear naman from her naman kung ano yung mga advantages and disadvantages of being a leader.
So disadvantages, maybe disadvantages first. I agree with Miss Micah, the time that it takes to for us to like magmeet for meetings, for making a report, something like that. And then for me also, it's because most of my officers are clinic owners, and then I'm the only parang consultant lang therapist, so they don't have much time, and then most of them has families, so ako lang yung parang maraming time sa kanila. So after the meeting, I do the paperwork, and then I do the meet, and then that I delegate it or I send it to the national. Also, another disadvantage is I can't say no for a meeting. I can't say no. If kang Miss Micah, I don't know if you agree, Miss Micah, can you say no? I think hindi because you're secretary.
No, I have to be present all the time for the
Yes, you
minutes
have.
of the meeting.
Yes, you have to be present. For me, also, with Miss Micah, I can't say no for any meetings. Kahit pa na parang audience lang ako, but I can still say no because I'm the Mindanao represent. Parang ganon siya. Parang, that's the only, parang yun lang na-think ko na disadvantage aside from sa sinabi ni Miss Micah. Advantages is being a leader. I will parang I'll be a part of I'll be like a part of the planning of everything. So because I'm the part of planning of everything, and then I am a leader of like Mindanao, I listen to our little community, and then I can partake it to the planning. So that's that's my kind of one of the advantages. And there's another perks, parang being a leader um makes you think that uh sorry, being like one of the leaders makes you parang you can feel parang happy in a way that you're part of something parang historic na kasi siya for me.
Yes.
Kind of historic na kasi siya.
Yes.
And then the national, parang bias din kasi itong national officer, sinasabi nila sa akin, you'll be, because you're the first president, parang chapter president, you'll be part of the history. So parang kind of yay, kind of happy siya para sa akin. Kind of happy siya sa akin. And then this one, being able, another advantage is being able to talk here with the with you
It's
guys.
like an
So, yeah.
influencer, Oo.
Parang ganon.
Baka
Yes.
malay mo si Miss Goebel makikita na pala ng mga future OT sa
Yes.
board
Oo.
exam. Who is the first of the Mindanao chapter?
Parang
yan
board
yung
of
gino-joke nila
examiner na
sa
ba? Board
akin.
of examiner
Right.
na.
Yes, yan yung
Oo.
gino-joke nila sa
Tsaka
akin. Parang
in a good way,
advantage
Miss Goebel,
yan.
di ba? Parang yung nakaka-proud in a good way.
Yes.
Kasi syempre kasama ka na dun sa history di ba?
Yes, parang ganon. Yan yung gino-joke nila sa akin. And then, if parang si Ma'am Ana Recto, if you know Ma'am Ana Recto, she also said that, oh, welcome to PAOT. You're a leader, hindi ka na makaalis dito. Sinasabi niya sa akin, hindi ka na makakaalis dito. You will be a part of the history and you will be learning to become a good leader if that. That's like one of the advantages of it.
Oh, actually, right? And Miss Jen, right? If we will recall, sabi nga ni Miss Goebel kanina, from 2017, right? She is part of the PAOT officers na. So it means na talagang trusted siya at talagang gusto siya ng mga nasa yung mga OTs din natin doon sa Mindanao, right?
Yes, oo. Tsaka ang tawag dito, masyado pa silang bata and marami pa silang mararating. Kumaga malayo pa yung mga mararating nila, di ba? So, we are looking forward to that.
And to add on lang, no, to be honest talaga, ang ganda nung ating mga speakers for today. Kasi they're very relatable. Yung nga yung masasabi natin. Sabi mo nga, they are very young. They are young professionals. I myself also is a young OT, no? Very, sabay lang kami ni Micah. But you can see now, right, na they are being proactive in their own ways to empower those who are, kumbaga, nasa or we are taking the lead no in this future or dun sa ating future na profession, right?
Yes, correct. Oo.
Yes, and I'd like to go back then dun sa sinabi ni Miss Goebel, no? Yun nga, yung advantages niya. I think to sum it up, it's also collaboration. Collaboration with the OTs, with the other professionals dun sa national or right? And talking about collaboration, no? To make I have a question about it. So to make leadership effective, do you have this specific approaches aside from yun nga, you collaborate with a lot of people, you talk to a lot of people, no? As you said, Miss Micah, lumaki talaga yung circle mo when you joined this when you joined or become a leader, no? So do you have these specific approaches that you apply in your practice?
Actually, pagdating sa tiny no. So, kasi sa PAOT, hindi masyadong malaki yung leadership role ko talaga kasi I'm a secretary lang. Tapos, mostly, ang may malaking role talaga sa amin is yung president, like Teacher Goebel. Yan. So, sa amin, si Sir Marvin, siya talaga yung may big role. And then yung mga
Shout out to
chair.
Mr. Marvin,
Andito.
Ay, is
Hello, sir!
is here
sir.
with us.
Ayan. So, yung leadership ko talaga na role, mas nagre-reflect siya dun sa clinic. So, I usually, with the departments, like the SPED department, OT department, mostly democratic. Not democratic pala, advisory. So, mostly advisory kasi alam naman na nila yung ginagawa nila. So, very minimal yung supervision. Meron lang ako, if there's a problem, dun lang ako pumapasok. So, mostly advisory lang yung leadership style ko for the departments. But for the admin, it's really democratic. So, pagdating sa admin work, ako pa rin talaga yung my last say. Pero I always consider. So, I always consider kung ano yung mai-input nila. Like, what do you think? Laging may question na, what do you think you think this is better or this one? So I give them options. And then from that one, doon pa lang ako mag-decide. Although ako pa rin yung final decision maker. But merong more on yan, democratic pagdating sa admin.
Well, as for me, I really don't have any specific ano ba yan? But I'll just listen, make like the decisions and everything, and then ask the another leader of me if what I do is correct na ba, okay na ba? Is this decision good for everybody? That's how for me. Yes, that's how for me. And then nothing really, because I think every decision that I make from 2017 until now, parang wala naman akong narinig na complaints. Parang wala naman akong narinig na complaints, as long as I did my work, I'm good. I'm good. And then yeah. So I think okay. Yeah. That's
Yes. Alam mo, I'd like to add yung about dun sa complaints, no, Miss Goebel. So, yan, yun yung medyo chika ka lang konti. Medyo lang. At tawag dito, as we all know naman kasi na it's not everyday okay, it's not everyday bed of roses, diba? So, there are times na talaga na may opposition, not all will agree with you nga, 'di ba? So what are the excuse me, how do you handle yung mga ganong situations, or how do you handle mga criticisms?
well, I always again ask myself if I did kanang good, like something like that. And then if there's criticism or complaints towards like OT, well, for me, if marami akong narinig complaints about work, about being an OT, about anything, but I didn't hear complaints towards me as as being a leader, or maybe hindi ko alam, ayun lang nila, tight-lip lang sila, hindi ko alam. But yeah, so they talk to me about complaints and everything, and then I will tell them that I will ask again the national, because yes, I'm still young, hindi ko alam anything. I don't know anything, so I ask again the national. So the response from the national, I'll just tell them. And yun na.
Okay, so yun nga, si Miss Goebel, she talked about being a good listener, communicating well with her members. No, that is what makes her a good leader. So as we are discussing, no, kanina natin sinasabi na yung mga guests natin tonight are young professionals. I think it is also one of their advantage, no, that they are young. We have new OTs, parang ang daming rising na OTs, and we are able to talk to this new generation well. We are able to collaborate. And then Ms. Goebel also said kanina about reaching out to those na mas higher or someone na kumbaga elder sa atin, no? Yung mga seniors natin na OT, right? Yung mga
Tita na lang, tita
nakasama
and tito.
natin. Titas of OT.
Tita
Okay,
and tito
so
sa OT,
sila,
yun yung
right?
gusto nila.
So, yun po. How do you facilitate communication, or how do you break this, kumbaga, yung mga boundaries, if there is any, no? What are the challenges that you've encountered first? Yun. How do you communicate with them po?
So here in for me it's as Mindanao is really a big island, but really like has a small OT community, and because it has a small OT community, each OT here has many, like parang one OT here has another clinic, and another clinic. So whenever like there's a program, there's a workshop that PAOT needs for me to delegate or needs OTs, responses for OTs, it's kind of difficult for me because parang sila, why would I answer this? Parang what will I get from this? What will I get from answering this? Yan yung kind of difficulty for me. And then every time I get responses, it's just a few, maybe less than 10. We're 150 plus in here, and then less than 10 lang makukuha ko. So it would be very difficult for me to explain also to the meeting that ito lang ito lang talaga mabibigay ko, even though that I communicate every day, I follow up every day. So but still, at least there's an answer for me. At least there's an answer for me, so that's okay for me.
How about you, Miss Micah? Same experiences or anything to add on?
So the question was, how do I collaborate? Is that correct?
Yes.
Ayun. So for well, wait lang. I didn't understand.
Or communicate communicate to those who are, yung mas senior sa atin, right? How do you facilitate the communication between them?
I see. So, well, being a young leader kasi, well, actually nga, it's one of the disadvantage na young ka. So, usually it's difficult to talk to bigger people. Kasi when you're young, parang, ano bang alam nito? May ganong question. So, this one naman, ma-relate ko lang siya dun sa Tiny Nook kasi for PAOT, as a PAOT officer, since relatively new pa siya, wala pa akong experience actually to talk to mas malalaking tao, to communicate about PAOT. But for Tiny Nook, so yung one of the things kasi na kailangan mo gawin as a clinic owner is to actually talk to the DevPed, to talk to the doctors, to talk to schools, yon. So, how do I communicate? Well, basta tinutry ko lang yung best ko na kausapin sila as professional as possible. So, lagi kong dala yung kailangan confident ka. Kahit na feeling mo ang liit kasi, well, physically kasi maliit ako. I'm only 4'11". So, kahit na ang liit-liit ko, dapat confident ka. Dapat alam mo yung sinasabi mo. Ganon. So that when I communicate with bigger professionals in the industry, kasi of course OT, hindi naman tayo stand alone. We really collaborate with a lot of professionals. Kailangan natin ng SPED, kailangan natin ng speech, kailangan natin ng doctors para maging holistic yung approach natin sa kids natin. So sa pediatric practice kasi ako, so more on yun yung circle na syempre for them na OT, ngayon pa lang ako mag-establish dito, kailangan ko magpakilala. So, talagang dinor-to-door ko, ganyan. And then, I communicate lang, like, yan, bringing my confidence lang. And then, what flows na lang. Yun. So, of course, andun pa rin yung, kailangan, hindi mo dala ko pa rin yung value na parang hindi ko alam lahat. So, kailangan lagi akong open to criticisms from them. So, with those criticisms, kailangan hindi ako masyadong ma-down and I should look at it positively na parang, okay, there's a criticism because may nakikita sila. Pero ano ba yung nakikita nila? Why? And then, I go around it. And then, I try my best na ma-solusyonan yung criticism na nakikita nila. So, that's it for me.
I see. Being confident yet being open. We can see that these leaders are very humble. No, Miss Jen?
Yes, I totally agree with that. Yung pagiging confident talaga is a big factor. Oo. So my question is, syempre, we know na your hands are full sa responsibility nyo, no? Sobrang laki ng responsibility nyo being a consultant, a PAOT president, secretary, and then a owner of a clinic. So how do you make room for continuing to learn while taking on a leadership role? Can we hear from Miss Goebel?
Continuing to learn, I think that's one of the kind of advantages of being a officer, of being a leader, because it will be an opportunity and it will be open for you. If you're a leader, there will always be in like continuing education for you. Continuing, there's always like there will be you will be the ones that needs to be there. So if because you need to be there, you will learn. You will really learn. Just like I don't know if anyone can relate, but if there's a PAOT program or a project or something for workshop or anything, because you're an officer, you have to be there. And then because you have to be there, then you will learn. Just like that. It's, that's for me a continuing education for me, for me as a consultant or also as a leader. So yes, that's
Yes, alam mo, I like what you said kanina, no? Tama rin naman talaga na if you are a leader, there is a room for learning. Kumbaga, continuing learning talaga yan eh. So, may I ask naman si Miss Micah?
And actually, I also agree with Miss Gobel kasi I think Miss Gobel, you were also there last Sunday dun
yes.
sa OT Kamustahan. So,
Yes.
it's one of the programs of PAOT. And then, you actually get to learn a lot of things like mental health wise. So, yun yung program. So, more on asking how are you dun sa mga graduates natin. So, of course, there were talks. So, during those talks, you get to learn about a lot of things also. And then, also to go to the question na how do you manage to still learn? Yun, mostly time management talaga. So yun yung biggest siguro na kailangan meron tayo. Not only us, talagang tayo lahat. Yan. So right now, actually, I'm still taking up courses, yung feeding therapy ng talk tools yun. So, isa yun sa nasa plate ko ngayon. So, na-undergo ko pa rin yung levels niya. So, actually, you have to, kahit na leader ka in this, you always have to make time for that area na gusto mong matutunan. Kasi I believe na parang we live to learn. Yan. So, every day we learn. Ganyan. So, for me kasi meron na ako syempre mga what I do, meron akong list na parang what I want to learn. Ganyan. So, it may be yoga, yan. So, I enroll in classes. So, very, yung ginagawa ko talaga yung time blocking. So, meron talaga akong Google Sheets ng time block
May
ko,
Google Sheets
ganyan.
ka.
Yes.
Parang di ba? Yung Google
Sobrang
Sheet mo
type
tapos
A,
ma-manifest mo siya, di ba?
She's
Yes.
more organized than me. Secretary
Ayun.
talaga siya.
Fit na fit ang role.
Butis ganyan, di ba? OC,
Yes.
organized, di ba?
Oo. So, may Google Sheets talaga ako. Like, parang, okay, this week. So, syempre, you don't always follow through kasi merong magka-come up and magka-come up. Pero, I really make sure na, dati kasi, sobrang ko talaga, ma-pressure ako sa self ko na kailangan every week talagang meron akong extracurricular na 2 or like meron akong learning module na isa, ganyan. Pero ngayon, mas mas maluwag na ako sa sarili ko kasi I learned na kailangan natin mag-rest na we have to respect our body also. Na parang if we need rest, talagang you take some rest, ganyan. So, na mas maluwag na ako minsan, ano na ako, every 2 weeks at least may exercise. Parang ganyan na lang. So, you learn, kasi we learn in a lot of things kahit naman we still learn eh. Pero in terms of profession, in our profession, yun yung ginagawa kong learning ngayon. More on, I'm focusing on feeding therapy. So, meron siyang timetable. So, talagang mapupush ka na you have to do it or else sayang yung bayad. I won't get the certificate. Ganon. And that's it for me.
Speaking of yung kamustahan, Miss Micah,
Yes.
sabi you were there, who was your facilitator ka ba doon?
No, I was only a co-faci. So,
Oh,
the facilitator was, Ma'am Steph Atwell.
okay. So for
Yes.
everyone we had a kamustahan to our
Mhm.
graduates. If anyone here wants a help for their thesis, may graduates naman na mag-help sa inyo. So yes, if you need subjects for your thesis, the graduates are willing to help also. So speaking of that pala, of continuing like education, yung facilitator ko si Sir Anthony Grescia. Of all people na facilitator, doon talaga ako na tapat sa kanya. So Sir Anthony Grescia is a CBT like certified in everything of the mental health. I'm not really good in mental health. So actually during the meeting they asked me if I wanted to be a facilitator. So I actually declined because I'm not really good in mental health and anything. So napunta ako kay Sir Anthony. And then on that day, they actually told, on that time talaga, going to the break room, they actually told me, you will be a co-facilitator. I do not know anything. I do not know how to some things because I practice pedia. And then I just said that, I just told myself that because Sir Anthony is there, I will just follow his lead. So there being being a witness of how he does it, how everything it's overwhelming for me, but then I learned, parang ito pala, ganito pala. So yes. So if anything, observation also helps you being a good leader. If anything, yes.
Wow, ang ganda pala nung nangyari nung last weekend about sa OT Kamustahan. And ayun nga, speaking of that, Miss Goebel, malapit na yung aming mock proposal, mock thesis proposal this July na.
You can do it, guys. If you
Oh, thank you.
you can do it. If you need emotional support, charet. If you need emotional support, you can contact Miss Micah.
Kamustahan na din. Isa
Yes,
pa ulit.
kamustahan again.
Yeah.
Grabe,
Alright.
super inspiring talaga sila, no? Marla?
That's true. And ang dami talaga nating nakuha, no? From being goal-oriented, being self-aware, having the passion to serve, being a good listener, observing others, right? Those are the things those are the qualities that make each and every one of us a good leader and a great leader, And to those who are planning to take this role in the future, eto na, no? Ito yung mga parang, kumbaga, values na ating ina-uphold. So, I hope may mga nakuha ang ating viewers for tonight.
Okay. Yes. Agree. Shout out to our audience pala. We are grateful to have our guests with us. It is really an honor to be with you in this podcast.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ma'am Micah and Miss Goebel. So, do you have any or do you have final words or advice to those future rising leaders in our industry?
Sige, I'll start. Siguro, no, for if for the future leaders, one thing lang is to go with your gut and to trust yourself. It's really important na you trust yourself in the process kasi if you always doubt and doubt, talagang um, hindi ka makaka-arrive ng maayos sa goal mo, parang ganun. Kailangan trust mo and then you have to listen, you have to always be open to a lot of challenges, open to a lot of criticisms, open to a lot of ideas. Kasi always remember na hindi natin alam lahat. Yun. So, lahat ng tao merong maituturo sa atin. No matter how small or how big it is. Always listen. Yun. And trust yourself. Yun.
Thank you for that, Ms.
Yes.
Goebel.
Also, don't lose hope sa mga rising leaders and upcoming OTs. Kasi if, again, to the graduates, right, Miss Micah,
Yeah.
they're kind of frustrated for now because especially now it's pandemic. So always don't lose hope, and then always make yourself open for learning. That's being open-minded, because again with Miss Micah, we don't know anything. Especially me, again, I don't know anything, and every time there's a work, there's an opportunity, maybe go with the flow, and in that you may learn and you may become a good leader. Yes.
Yes. I agree with that. Yung being open kasi you will learn from that. Miss Marla, may sasabihin ka pa?
And yes, oo. Share ko lang din, no, kasi si Miss Micah, alam mo, she is a proof na talagang, di ba nga, yung kwento niya sa atin before na she work first, then her first plan talaga is to work abroad, but then pandemic happened, and then she started to look for other ways to search her purpose, no? And this actually parang ang dating sa atin, no, ang lesson na nakuha ko here is, alam mo yon, wala talaga tayong excuse, no? Wala tayong excuse even though it is pandemic and we are still in the pandemic actually, no? Si Miss Micah, nag-start siya during the COVID-19, yung start ng which is 2020. And tingnan niyo naman natin kung nasa na si Miss Micah right now, right? And that's correct. Open for learning is very important.
Okay, plugging time. We would like to thank the Cebu Doctors University Master of Arts in Occupational Therapy for giving us the opportunity to deliver you in this podcast.
Thank you very much. How about our guest? Do you want to say something, Paul? Let's start with Ms. Micah.
Ayan. So, for those who are listening, ayan. So, I'm from Palawan, and Palawan is really nice. So, if ever na you want to practice here, mag-message lang kayo. Yan. So, let's see. Kasi marami talagang opportunities here. So, I'm really inviting OTs, like if you know mga speech therapists, yan. And then for Pedia PT, actually, only isa lang rin yung Pedia PT dito. And ang speech therapist dito, isa lang din. And then for OT, ayan, right now, ako lang din. And then may isa, but sobrang layo niya sa south. So you see, there's so much opportunity here. So if ever na you want to relocate dito sa Palawan, so I'm plugging yung Tiny Nook Therapy Center. Yan, message us and then we'll accommodate you, of course.
Yes. What is the Facebook account nung Tiny Nook?
Ayan, so
Do you have Instagram to follow? Ganyan.
Ayan. Char. So our Instagram kasi is not active. So for
Mm.
Facebook, it's Tiny Nook Therapy Center dot Palawan.
Okay,
Tama
the
ba?
Tiny Nook.
Let me see again. At Tiny Nook Therapy Center Palawan. Yon. So you can see us sa Facebook. Well, kita ba? Yan. Anyway,
Yes.
ayan. And then, yes, you can message us there or sa email, which is hello.tinynookTherapyCenter at gmail.com. Yan. So,
Ayun.
you can send in your CVs, yan, for our graduates after getting your OTRP. Yeah, hit us up. We have
Yan.
opportunities for you.
Alam mo kasi for a time talaga na uso yung mga traveling OT, no? Like before yung pandemic, ang daming nagta-travel. But right now, we really need those OTs who are willing and who are passionate, of course, to serve those part of the Philippines. And please also tell us more about the Southern Tagalog, right, Miss Micah? You are part of.
Yes, yes. Also, for the PAOT, Southern Tagalog chapter, please like our page. So, our page is, wait a minute, this one. I can't, wala pa siyang username kasi it's fairly new, but it's Philippine Academy of Occupational Therapists dash Southern Tagalog chapter. So that's our PAOT Southern Tagalog Facebook. And then for those na hindi pa members, soon pagka na-approve na talagang okay na yung ating OT bill, ayan, so required na tayo talaga na maging PAOT members. So for those residing sa Southern Tagalog, ayan, magpa-member na kayo para you'll get a lot of perks also. So ito, one of the perks is, yan nga, yung OT Kamustahan, you get to listen to mental health speakers. So that's not only one of the programs. Of course, sa national yon. So meron ding programs for you ang Southern Tagalog. So meron kang makukuha. Kasi yun yung laging question. Anong makukuha ko pag nagpa-member ako? Marami. So you have to be a member to know.
And sometimes, di ba, we also have these events, correct? Activities.
Yes.
Do you have upcoming events po sa PAOT Southern Tagalog?
So for Southern Tagalog, as of the moment, wala pa talaga kaming program. But soon, there will be kasi after, of course, magmi-meeting kami for the programs. Ayan. Kasi we're really new, kaka-establish lang talaga niya a few months ago. So inaayos pa sa nationals yung aming
Speaking of, there's an
ethics.
email about
Yes.
the meeting.
Yes. So kaninang morning lang yun,
Yes.
right? Yung email. So,
Yes.
yan. So, medyo ina-establish pa talaga namin yung Southern Tagalog. Unlike for Miss Goebel na matagal na silang established. Ayan.
Yeah. So, please like the pages
Yes,
po,
like.
Tiny Nook and PAOT Southern Tagalog. How about you, Miss Goebel?
Yes, also, if anyone wants to work here in Mindanao, you can actually contact me. And actually messenger lang or email if you have, you can actually look for my email in the PAOT website. Wala akong Facebook, sorry guys. So you can actually look for the email. And then for the budding leaders, the ones that wants to be next president like Miss Jen, and the ones that are looking for CPD units, there's an upcoming event, APOTC, Asia Pacific Occupational Therapy Conference, this November, if I am correct. If you're a member, if you're a member of PAOT, there's a early bird discount. It's until July 30. So yes, if you want CPD units and if you want to meet or talk to other leaders, to other OTs around Asia, you can do that and register.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So thank you, Miss Goebel and Miss Micah. Always remember, being a leader requires a lot of effort. Like our guests tonight, they take on things one step at a time. So wherever you are right now sa ating field, I hope you are doing great and know that there are more opportunities out there to explore.
Yes, oo. May I add to that pala ha, we will put all your social media accounts sa description box later sa ating Spotify and YouTube. Okay. Wow,
All right.
grabe. Sobrang dami nating natutunan tonight. Right, Miss Marla?
Correct.
Yes. If you are tuned in right now, whether you are ready for a managerial role or you are simply looking to start practicing in your current position, I am telling you this now that you have the potential and qualities to be a great leader. Let's listen, let's learn, and let's change the world together. I hope you got a thing or two from this podcast. God bless everyone. This is Jen.
And thank you again to Miss Micah and Miss Goebel. This is Marla.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
Thank you, Miss
you.
Micah. Thank you, Miss Goebel. And we are signing off.